And welcome into another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. I am your host, Josh Barnett. We are brought to you by Holman Barnes Group, which includes West Ashfield League's best place to watch the game live and loud this Saturday when we take on the Cowboys. Hopefully another win over the Cowboys, obviously a big one. Previously at Leichhardt, let's hope the boys can repeat that one. We'll preview that game tonight. At WestsLife Pod is our Instagram and Twitter handles. Please give us a follow on there on the link tree. The link tree link on those profile pages that'll lead you to absolutely everything that we do, including our Patreon, which is patreon.com/WestsLife. Got a few questions, a few rants from the lads later in the show, and shouts to everyone tuning in on a Tuesday night. I know the nights have been pretty inconsistent. They probably will be until the end of Origin 3 in a couple of weeks' time. So we apologise for not... I know people are a creature of habits, the three of us as well. We'll go back to the Monday, Wednesday routines once I'm back from Fiji the next week or so. I'll still be recording, taking the microphone over there. So our next episode, I may or may not have a cocktail or two in me, so might be a few slurred words. Just all hopefully the internet is kind to us over there as well. Who should we go to first? Mr. Thompson, how are you on this Tuesday evening as we head into a West Tigers game after our third break / bye over the weekend?
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day everyone watching and listening. Yeah, it was nice to not have to worry about stressing over the team playing a game of footy over the weekend. Not a lot of news to talk about too, so I reckon we'll have a pretty short show tonight, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we always promise that. And we'll see how we go. We'll revisit that in an hour's time. Rob Bashara coming in from the Red Room. How are you this evening?
Yeah, pretty relaxed, guys. How are we both? Good, interesting little week, isn't it? Thought it was going to be a
news week.
Yeah, thought it was going to be a quiet one, but it's turned into a big one. So plenty to talk about. I hope everyone in podcast land is well, and we've got plenty to get through.
Yeah, we'll get straight into the Luke Brooks news. Of course, if you've been living under a rock, he has signed with Manly. But before we do that, we are shouting out our sponsors, West Ashfield. You can watch the West Tigers against the North Queensland Cowboys in round 18 this weekend while they play the Cowboys at their home in Queensland Country Bank Stadium. So the best place to watch it if you're not flying up to Townsville for that game, you can head to West Ashfield. Don't miss out on mouth-watering half-price pizzas and $4.80 tap beers from kickoff until halftime. $4. That's unbelievable. $4.80 schooners. The Ambush West Tigers group, they're giving away prizes and your chance to see special appearances by West Tigers guests from 4:30 p.m. Not too sure what those guests or whom those guests will be, but for more information, holmanbarnesgroup.com.au. Holman Barnes Group, bringing people together. I don't think even in Fiji I'll get $4.80 schooners. How good is that? Righto. So the big news that broke yesterday, obviously, Tommy Talau going to Manly. Big news, fellas. Unexpected, that one. Now, of course, it was Luke Brooks who's following Tommy to the Northern Beaches to play for the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. It caught me off guard. I don't know about you, but when this news dropped, I mean, West Tigers, someone's signing with the West Tigers, we tend to hear about 8 or 9 rumours before it happens, and then out of the blue, bang, Luke Brooks to Manly.
Yeah, I had heard originally Super League were obviously interested in him. We had talked about that a few times on the show, and then there were the rumours of the halfback carousel late last week where they said Brooks to Cowboys, and then I feel like Brooks to Manly ended up being a bit left field.
Rob, what was your reaction to the news when you heard it? Read it?
Honestly, disbelief, total disbelief. Someone, Joseph Alafaci, tagged us in a tweet, and I basically replied, "I'll wait till it's all official." And then, sure enough, 2 hours later,
Murphy's Law.
Manly made it official with those 4 signings that you've got there, $6 million splurge or whatever it is. Look, I mean, we're never going to fix our problems till the problem's gone. So I think it's the right move for him, the right move for us. People are saying, well, what do we do about halfback now? We haven't had one for 10 years, basically. So as far as I'm concerned, it makes no difference. I just think the whole thing's been a schmozzle from our point. Given the fact that, we let go of Madden last year, we let go of Hastings in the off-season. We said we would put all our eggs in the Moses basket, as someone said last week, and then we just threw off every bit of criticism from anyone that cared to throw criticism and said, no, we are standing by Luke Brooks. He is our number 7. He will be our number 7, yet we didn't offer him a contract extension earlier in the year. We offered Adam Dewey one. We never offered Luke one. And then obviously we got to this point where what was it, 2 weeks ago, we offered him a 2-year deal worth $550 a year. To me, that doesn't really say like we really want to keep you. So I just think the whole thing's been a bit of a mess. I don't think everyone, in terms of Luke Brooks, I don't think everyone's on the same page at the club. And now we are in a bit of a bind in terms of the half situation, but it's self-inflicted, guys. We didn't have to be in this situation where we look, really, really desperate. And, from the outside looking in, I think it looks like we're desperate, but I'm not. He's not the Ants Pants, but I'd be happy with a decent number 6 and Brandon Wakeham to get us through until we find someone else. Brandon Wakeham can organise. He can kick. He can goal kick. I mean, Luke Brooks isn't a game manager, but yeah, I think the one thing that I do think Manly have done the right thing here. The one thing Manly have done that we didn't do is they haven't tried to say he's a number 7. You're not going to pay $2.6 million for 4 years. They're and have Cherry Evans there, who's the form halfback in the comp, played his ass off in Origin. So I think the fact they've got Brooks and they're going to play him at number 6, that's Luke Brooks's rightful position. He's never been a true game manager. His best 2 games last year were when we beat Parramatta and South back-to-back weeks when Hastings was halfback and he was at number 6, and Brooks played 2 magnificent games on those 2 days. So we were just really stubborn and said, no, he's got to be a 7. And he's improved this year, no doubt. And the last couple of months, he's been a lot better. But yeah, you just need to take the shackles off him and just let him play his natural game. I think second receiver or second fiddle is best suited for Luke Brooks.
Yeah, like don't force him into being a game manager. Like with Cherry Evans, he's got the ultimate game manager right there. He can play off the back of that, and I think it's going to really benefit his game. So
definitely
being second fiddle to a superstar. But I'm interested to know like how long would Cherry Evans continue playing for, because he's getting fairly old now and will be close to retirement. So I don't think they've got much of a succession plan there, especially if we do pinch that youngster who's been linked to us, but to multiple other clubs now too.
I reckon he's got 2 more in him, to be honest.
He's at least got 2. He's playing out of. I mean, he's played his ass off in Origin. I know Queenslanders tend to lift at Origin time, and maybe they don't do it all the time at club footy land, but Cherry Evans has got at least another couple of years. He's not the sort of bloke that carries weight, or he doesn't look like he slowed down. I mean, he ran down Stephen Crichton, from the car park the other night. So he's still got the wheels, and he's still got the game sense and the game management. And I guess he wants to be a part of that Origin potential dynasty that they might have. So I think he's got at least 2 years, like Josh just said.
Yeah, age is just a number. I mean, how old was Cameron Smith? Proved he was 39 when he retired?
Yeah, 38, I think.
38. So sports science is so good now. If you stay injury free, and DCE has stayed pretty, from memory, on the field most of the time, playing, like you said, he plays Origin, plays a lot of football.
Yeah,
he's the complete opposite to Tommy Turbo. He's just a bit of a warrior sort of thing. So people bag out Cherry Evans, but I think he's I think because people dislike him, he's actually a bit underrated. Even though he plays literally for Australia, I think people don't realise just how good a game manager he actually is. So Yeah, I think Luke Brooks is in a perfect position, like you said, with DCE running the show and Brooksy just no pressures off, just do his natural.
Unleash the shackles.
Yeah, unleash the shackles. So
And you've got plenty of speed men outside him too, you know, like on that left side, whether it's Cooler or Gary, whoever they play at centre there, and Jason Saab, and, you know, if Turbo's ever fit again, like he's just got so many weapons around him that it might give Luke Brooks a bit more space because, you know, you've got to watch their outside man.
Yep, definitely. Just saw a Facebook comment before. Ryan Du Chateau on Facebook said we shouldn't be judging recruitment for halves till start of next season. Look, I guess, but I don't know, maybe a miracle will fall into their hands, but you kind of want to have it sorted pretty quick. So
we should never have been in this position. We should never have been in this position. I know they can't allow for, you know, Dewey getting injured and you know, Brooks doing a hamstring or whatever. But I think like I said earlier, a lot of it's self-inflicted, and I don't believe it's been managed right. And I don't think everyone at the club is on the same page. It was pretty clear that, you know, Benji and Tim Sheens wanted Brooks. If you really wanted Brooks, you're not going to offer him $550. You're going to offer him $750 or $800, or, you know, a figure that says, we believe you're the man to guide us on. And obviously we didn't believe that, even though they kept saying it, because we were trying to get Mitchell Moses. So it's just a bit of amateur hour, I reckon, guys. But we'll see what comes. But like you said, we can't judge how it works out till you know, the beginning of next year, no doubt. But I still think we shouldn't be in this position right now.
One thing will be West Tigers fans will definitely be pretty judgmental on if management shit the bed with this one is signing Latu Fainu from Manly. So as far as we knew, this was pretty much a lock, but there's rumours Titans, Dragons, that sort of thing stepping in, possibly looking for him. He wants a release because he wants to play first grade. Has anyone got the latest on Fainu, boys?
I don't personally, guys. I've only heard what you've heard about the Titans. I didn't know the Dragons stuff. The Titans stuff does make a bit of sense in the fact that you know, Des Hasler was the Manly coach last year, so he's got that relationship with Des Hasler. I don't know how long Foran's going to be there for, but obviously he would have played under Foran, so there's a little bit of a reason for him to go there. But I don't know much about him. There's the hype from our supporter base is crazy, so he must be really good if they're, or we've got a bunch of really bad judges. I don't know, or we're just plain desperate. But it's kind of like Luke Brooks revisited. You know, the next Andrew Johns. They're talking this kid up like he's going to be something else. So if he is that player, I hope we get him. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why we were linked with him in the first place. I don't know how all of that came about, to be honest.
Well, I guess the Manly connection with Fulton. A few people in our comments are saying that he's meeting with Benji this week, and the Dolphins or possibly someone where was it? Someone said Sydney Morning Herald saying it's us or the Dolphins now. So we'll see.
He's 18.
18? Okay. Well, look, we've said it before. I've said it the last few weeks anyway. We've got to do what the Dolphins did and just take a punt on a young halfback and just give him time, like just get him in first grade and let him learn that way. And, you know, he's going to have a decent pack around him, you know, like Stefano and Appy and Clem and Bateman, and, you know, there's Ice. There's plenty of, you know, forwards to look after him. So I hope he does come, but we'll just see what happens.
Blake Gatz on the YouTube stream says he's seen a lot of him. Reminds me of a younger Sean Johnson. So
okay,
that's pretty good.
Big rap.
He's also got three brothers. Two of them are still currently at Manly, where I think we're hoping to get one of them. One of them's already with us in our reserve grade team, and then his other is also at Manly, but he's on the no-fault stand-down and has been for over a year. So
isn't he in jail?
There's a bit of a family.
Yeah, he's in jail.
Yeah, he's in jail. That's why he's still on the stand-down.
Yeah, you can't play footy.
Well, if he's anything like his jailed brother, then he's an absolute bottler, because the hooker that's in jail, the Manly pinned their future in him and said to Appy Coruscant, "See you later. You can go to Penrith." So they're the sort of raps that are on the other Fainu brother. So if he's anything like that, then wow, then he is something special. But you would have thought one of the bigger clubs would have snapped him up already, like the Roosters or the Storm, or they normally seem to poach the best talent.
He Manly cut the wrong person, and so did he. Moving on to the news, a little bit of talk over the weekend. It's kind of been hushed by the West Tigers now that Benji Marshall is at loggerheads with Scott Fulton. The club's come out and said, look, there's disagreements and that sort of thing, but Lee said he called Justin and said, look, everything's all good, that they're allowed to have disagreements, Rob. It's kind of a normal thing that goes on within a football team. Benji's been in Fiji I think he got home on Saturday. My wife is my reporter for this. She follows Zoe on Instagram. So kept me informed and obviously we're going to Fiji tomorrow as well, funny enough. But
Nice.
yeah, Benji was in Fiji for a bit of a break, and he would have seen that news pretty much as he came back to Sydney.
It doesn't instill much confidence, Josh, when Justin Pascoe has to ring Benji Marshall up and make sure everything's okay, because that's what's been reported, that Pascoe rang Marshall up on Sunday to make sure that none of this is true and that that he's not going anywhere. Look, I think it's a story blown out of proportion, but if you just look at the Luke Brooks situation and the Josh Schuster situation, as I said earlier, Benji wanted him, and I think Fulton said, no, he's not worth more than $550. This is what we're offering him. So they've kind of probably been at loggerheads there, and our offer was basically, see you later, Luke Brooks. Like, even though we offer him $550 a year, it's basically telling him to get lost, because it wasn't really, the sort of money you offer your halfback of a club. And then with Josh Schuster, it seems like Scott Fulton wanted him at the Tigers and basically said to Benji, if you want him, I've got a relationship with him. And Benji said, no, I don't want Schuster. So they've been on different wavelengths over two signings, which is all well and good. But at the end of the day, if this does persist, one of them will walk, because that's the reason Scott Fulton left Manly. Tony Mestroff, the CEO, was really looking over his shoulder, and every decision was having to go through him, and he wasn't happy with a lot of stuff. So Fulton said, fuck this, I'm out of there. So Fulton packed up and came to us. But, if Benji keeps saying no to what Scott says and Scott keeps saying no to what Benji says, I mean, how are you going to get proper production? So they've basically got to sit down. They've got to work out what players they want and just have a basic guide. And Benji needs to say, look, I want this guy or this guy or this guy. I'll be happy with one of these three or one of these four, and let Fulton do his job. But yeah, if they just keep disagreeing with each other and nothing productive comes out of it, one of them has to walk, and it'll be up to Lee and Justin to decide who they back. Do they back Scott Fulton, who they've just got to the club, or do they back a Benji who's been under Tim Sheens that's won 3 games this year? So and maybe by middle of next year might only be 5 or 6. So it's just, I think the media is beating it up a bit, but it is definitely, in my opinion, a potential problem down the track.
Anything to add to that, Az?
I just wanted to mention, how convenient is it that an article like that comes out the same day we get a positive, a somewhat positive news article about the potential Talau and Fainu swap. Yeah, we get something positive that gives us fans a little bit of hope, and then all of a sudden, here's a negative story about Benji and what's his face disagreeing with each other.
Fulton, yeah. I don't know. There seems to be stories.
Yeah, but I mean, if you sort of look at it, guys, this way, the way I look at it, when I heard that Benji said no to Schuster, the first thing that popped in my mind was, oh, wow, I reckon Fulton would have wanted him to come. And then when Brooks went to Manly, the first thing I thought of was like, oh, shit, Benji and Sheens wanted him to stay. So that the first thing that really did pop into my head was like, there's a bit of friction there. Even though if there wasn't a story there, I could imagine a journalist running with something like that, because those thoughts immediately came to my mind. So
they did offer Brooksy a contract though,
but 2 years at $550, and now he's offered 4 years at 2.6, which is $650. So it's double the length in length, double the length in for the contract, and then another $100,000 a year on top of that. It's not even close. But Look, I think Brooks wanted to go. Otherwise, Brooks could have come back and said, "Hey guys, I got this deal. You know, he's interested or not." But you know, he didn't even come back to us by the looks of it, and just moved on. Which, you know, onwards and upwards for Luke Brooks.
John Borg on Facebook says, "For fuck's sake, stop blaming the media for the club being a shit fight." Mate, like,
who's blaming the media though? But who's blaming the media?
Oh, I guess like Az and I would say that the media pump out a story when something was good, but I mean, mate, you're accusing us of going soft on West Tigers media.
John knows.
West
John
Tigers
knows what I'm like. I know John personally.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the whole, like I said, the halfback situation is just handled diabolically. The fact that Pascoe's got to ring Marshall up and say, "Hey, mate, is everything all right?" shows that there is a lack of trust between each other. Because if Pascoe's in there with Benji, like, he should know that everything's sweet. Like, you wouldn't question. It's like someone coming up to you and saying, "Well, Bashara said this about you," or whatever. Like, you know, that's a crock of shit because we're tight. And if they're tight enough, none of these rumors should matter to them. So it's, yeah, there's obviously a disconnect there, or lack of communication amongst Fulton, Marshall, Sheens, Pascoe, Hadjipentelis. There's just, they're not all on the same page, guys. I mean, Fulton got his job because Pascoe and Hadjipentelis have gone behind Sheens' back, and they've since sacked Warren McDonald. So you can't say everything's rosy. We are a shit case. We're trying our best, but they're not very good at what they do.
Yeah. The saga of being a West Tigers fan.
I just want to mention one thing that I thought was actually kind of funny when I read it yesterday. So we were tagged in that Manly, the post, that, like, the official post and the article and everything that was posted on their website, and I just remember reading a line in there about Tony Mestrov and what he's saying about Brooks. He says, "Luke is a fine player who will enjoy a fresh start and some much needed stability at Manly." Yeah, fresh start. I can see that he'd get that down there. But stability? No, they're not stable.
Yeah, well, you know, look, I give credit to Manly for identifying him as a 5'8". Like, that part, you know, if you go back to, even like, Shane's not doing this pod with us anymore, but the first thing Shane said was Luke Brooks is a 5'8", and Josh and I both agreed with him at the time. But Manly can't freaking talk. They got rid of Kieran Foran because Josh Schuster wanted to play 6. And now Josh Schuster's just been signed for another 3 years, and he's putting his head back in the scrum. So, you know, Manly aren't exactly going well. I mean, they've had all that issue with the not wearing the pride jumper or whatever it was last year. They've got rid of their coach, who didn't do anything wrong, to be honest, and they got an absolute has-been in Seabold, who, you know, brought Brisbane to their knees, like, couldn't coach for shit, and I don't think he's doing that great with them now. So, yeah, I don't think they're stable at all. On the contrary.
Look at Manly. They're kind of, what are they now? I think they're like 11th or 12th or something. So they're not having a great season this year, and they've just lost Tom Trbojevic for the season, which I think has completely ruled them out of finals contention now as well.
If you saw what they did in 2021, and you would have thought they'd easy get in the top 8 last year and this year. Their roster is superb. They've got size, they've got speed, they've got an origin half, they've got, you know, an origin centre who plays fullback. They've got talent everywhere, and they've just really underperformed.
They play at their suburban grounds every home game.
Yeah, they get all their home games as well, at Brooksvale.
New Zealand. Yeah. One company talking about instability, one company that can provide stability, Mobile Corp. So MLC Phones is what they used to be. They're now called Mobile Corp. They support local businesses by managing their IT, their networks, and their mobile devices. If you're a business owner looking for a partner who will take away the hassle of dealing with IT issues, make sure you have cybersecurity in place, handle all your mobile needs, then Mobile Corp can help. Mobile Corp is a family-run business and a long-time supporter of West Tigers. Give a shout to our mate Stephen and the team at Mobile Corp. That's mobilecorp.com.au. That's mobilecorp.com.au. Right, on to there is a game of football to talk about this weekend. So let's get into that. A team list dropped 4 p.m. this afternoon. During Buller at fullback, no surprise. David Nofaluma, Junior Tupu on the wings, and in the centres, Brent Naden and Stafford Toa, or an obvious or probably two two big non-inclusions there. But Rob, I'll go to you first. Nice to have Stafford back in the centre. It's our two best centres in the centre position, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And as we discussed on Twitter, we're not sure who's going to play on which side. But given that Naden has played most of the season at left centre when he has played, I think Naden will go back to the left side, even though he played right centre against Melbourne. And obviously, look, Valentine Holmes has found a bit of form. And, as who was it my son said, Stafford Toa was his daddy at Leichhardt Oval about a month ago. So, yeah, you got to put Stafford Toa back on Holmes, surely. But, gee, what a bad time to be getting the Cowboys. Like, we kind of really broke them, and they've found some form the last few weeks. So, and they really put South to the sword. So, look, it's going to be a big test for the boys. But yeah, look, that 1 to 5 is probably as good as we've got at the moment. So we really can't complain about that.
It was Stafford Toll's birthday last week, and under the Instagram post the club put out, someone tagged Valentine Holmes and said, "Come on, buddy, what have you bought your dad for his birthday?" I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, very good.
I literally lolled at that. A big surprise in the halves. Well, Brendan Wakeham is not, but in the 6 jersey for the first, has he worn the 6? Dane Laurie worn the 6 before. This is his first crack at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to say that Benji and Sheens listen to the show, but I did say last week we were talking about what we'd like to see in the team this week, and I said Dane Laurie at 5'8" was my answer. So I'm not taking credit for it, but in all seriousness, I am happy that he's actually getting a crack at it. I know for whatever reason, Dane's been out of favour, and a few people are saying he hasn't been lighting the world on fire in New South Wales Cup, but we've seen this kid show some talent in previous seasons that he's been with us, and he can show that he's can set up a few tries and throw good cutout passes and provide a spark. I'm actually really excited to see Dane get a crack at 6. And if it doesn't work out, I mean, who cares? The season's over. But we finally get righto, Dane. Here's your shot. He's also pretty good mates with Jurian Buller too. So who knows? We might get a bit of a combination between those two as well. So I don't know. What about you? As I'm really keen to see Dane. Finally get a crack at this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him being given a shot. It could be our potential halves pairing going forward, maybe for the rest of this year. Probably not though, because they'll probably bring Brooks back in once he's fit. Even though
maybe
if he's going next year, I don't think they should. But knowing the club, they probably will. I think we all expected it to be the case for our last game 2 weeks ago, but the club rolled the dice, played him 5 days before it in reserve grade, and he got concussed, so they couldn't add him in the team list for that last game. So, yeah, he was probably always going to be given the shot this week. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do.
About you, Rob? Keen to see Dano on the 6?
I'm keen to see how he goes, Josh. Look, this was sort of thrown to me by a few mates even last year saying give him a go at number 6. My biggest question mark is will he handle the defensive workload? I mean, the guy can attack. The guy's got some spark. He'll always back up. I just think he's a little bit undersized to be playing 6. So if he can handle, those big Cowboys forwards targeting him, and they're going to target him, then so be it. But I think they're going to try and work him into the ground. As Aaron said, he had that concussion, so he hasn't played much footy the last month. So look, it's a big ask to come in and play 80 minutes in a position you're not familiar with a halfback you've never played with. So again, Wakeham's going to have his second game at halfback where he hasn't got an established 5'8". Not really sure what Laurie's kicking game is like. I know he's got a short kicking game. I've never really seen him kick a ball too far. But look, as Sheen said after the game the other week against Melbourne, it's going to be time to experiment soon if we don't win a game, even though he already experimented with Toa at 5'8". So yeah, look, I think we just got to give it a go. And if it doesn't work this week, give him another week with it. Like, you just can't give him one game and sort of say, yep, it works, or no, it doesn't. Like, maybe give him a couple of weeks there. And look, Laurie's playing for a contract, whether it's with us or with someone else. So if he can show that he can handle 5'8" as well as, he can play fullback, it'll be good for him. But We're coming up a red hot Cowboys team that are very well coached.
Yeah.
Dissected South last week with some beautiful plays, and I think boys are going to be up for a tough challenge.
GD Tiger said on YouTube, is he on Paps or Blaw's side? I mean, he played junior footy with Blaw, in their younger days. So I don't know. Maybe those two as well be a little bit familiar with him.
If it's anything like what Toa was trying to do, he'll be playing left side.
Matthew,
left side of the field.
He asked him, Laurie play 5'8". Didn't Laurie play 5'8" for Penrith and the juniors? He actually did because the Forbes Ferrari was playing fullback. So yeah, he actually moved to 6 in his juniors. So he's well accustomed to the position. I think Rob Newmore saying it's the combination with Waco. We'll see how he goes there.
First graders are a lot bigger than junior footballers, so he's got a lot more, 100-kilo blokes running at him. Like, they're going to target him and try and isolate him. So it's going to be a big ask. And he's on that left side that hasn't been defending very well at the best of times. Even when Brooks is there. So but thankfully Talau's not there this week, which is hopefully one thing that we've been wanting for so long. So maybe they are listening.
For Pack, Stefano is back from Origin duties. He's with David Clemmer in the front row. Jakey Simkin is getting the 9. Isaiah Papali'i, Sean Blaw is back in the second row again as well. John Bateman named at 13. I saw some in the comments mentioned earlier he's still in England. He's not home yet. Is that correct?
No idea.
Aware.
I know he's overseas, but he's got to be back by now, surely.
Yeah, we'll see. So, Johnny, he's going to have to acclimatise again. He's going to Townsville. I mean, it's summer. I guess it's summer in England. Wouldn't be too cold over there at the moment, would it? So, but he's going to Townsville, a bit mid-20s. So, he's changing climates again, Johnny. So, might have to rest him for another 2 weeks. But yeah, in all seriousness, I hope he plays. On the bench, Talon De Silva getting his second game of first grade. So there's definitely, I know our season's over, but a few things here, like definitely want to see a few things with this Tigers team. Will they win? Look, if we win this, it'll be a bit of a mini miracle. But yeah, definitely Talon De Silva. Man, I want to watch this kid play. I hope he's in first grade the rest of the year. I want to see what this kid's got.
Oh, for sure. He has a chance to prove that he's got a lot more upside to him than what Jake Simpkin does. And if he can do that until Appy comes back, then he may well lock down that bench spot to support Appy for the rest of the season. And I hope he does, because if the club is serious about wanting to develop his game along with Jareem, since Jareem's gotten a steady stint at fullback since his debut, I think they really need to stay on top of that and follow through with that and keep talent in the squad. That would be unfortunate for Jake as well, because he's been quite good in the absence of Appy, but we know there's a lot more upside to the youngster in talent than there is in Jake, unfortunately for Jake. So,
yep. Rest of the bench: Fanil Pole, Alex Twal, and Asu Kepa. Rob, how you liking the makeup of that bench?
I've said it 100 times. I just don't really like Talau or Kapoa anywhere near the team. So, I guess Kapoa's there as backup for if one of the backs goes down injured, or if there's got to be positional switch. But other than that, it's about as good as what we can field at the moment.
Outside the 17, we have Alex Seyfarth, Will Smith, Tommy Talau still there. I guess they just name him because he's not officially been released yet. Justin Matamua and Atazi James. For the Cowboys, do you want to be the Cowboys Rita Rauterer?
I had a feeling you were going to do this.
Rita Rauterer.
Just before I do that really quickly, Benjamin Angus asked in the YouTube comments earlier if the NRL has released the officials for the game.
Have they?
Yeah, they have. They have.
If anyone has access to Twitter and you want to look it up, guys, because I'm using the phone to do this, if you just search Zero Tackle, one of their last few tweets, they did have the list of officials.
Okay.
League,
I'll do that
League
while you.
Unlimited. I've already got it open.
Oh,
League Unlimited in their team list article, they have the officials as well. So we've got Liam Kennedy as the referee, Nick Morrill and David Munro as the sideline officials, and Chris Butler in the bunker. The only one of those four that was involved in our Cowboys game up in Townsville last year was Chris Butler. He was the on-field ref.
ooh.
So that's to answer Benjamin Angus's question there.
So, no soft whistle this game, please.
Yeah, no sneaky messages down to Liam Kennedy on field.
Isn't it ridiculous that we won by 48 points about a month ago, and Josh is saying what it's going to be a really hard task to go up there and get a win? Like, it's crazy, isn't it? It's like when you read the Cowboys team out, there's not going to be too much difference to the lineup that met us at Leichhardt Oval 5 weeks ago.
I don't think there's been a more shocking result for the West High. I mean, it's our biggest win ever. So, but against the Cowboys team, it's not like we lapped like just post like set when South just came back in the comp. Like, we put 66 on a really good side. They were missing a couple of players from memory, but
they were missing Taumalolo and Nanai.
Yeah, well, Tom Lolo hasn't been. As you read the team list out, Tom Lolo.
He's on the 18th man. His name's 18th.
He's 18th man. So,
okay, so fullback is Scott Drinkwater. The wingers are Semi Valame and Murray Taulungi. Valentine Holmes and Peter Hiku are the centres. Tom Dearden is the 5'8" with Chad Townsend at number 7. Jordan McLean and Cohen Hess are the front rowers with Reese Robson at hooker. Luciano Leilua and Jeremiah Nanai are the second rowers. Ruben Cotter is the lock. Jake Granville, Griffin Neem, Jermaine Tanoa Brown, and Kulikefu Finafuiaki are the bench. Jason Taumalolo, Kyle Felt, Sam McIntyre, Jack Gajeski, and Zach Labart are the reserves.
Wow.
yeah, poor our old friend Sam McIntyre struggling to crack first grade at both Titans and Cowboys. But Rob, any matchups that are giving you a bit of nerves? There's probably quite a few.
No, I just think that the part that gives me the nerves is we absolutely pulled their pants down at Leichhardt. I think at the time we'd scored like 130 points for the season, and we literally scored half our points in one game. So, and the fact that we embarrassed them so badly, I think they're going to want to really rub it in and try and reverse that scoreline and have it the other way, like try and beat us by 40 or 50. Look, all I'm concerned about is I just want that left edge to be tighter. If Toa's on the right, I'm pretty confident we can hold them there. But the Cowboys have got their mojo back. They're very confident. Our boys kind of look like they pulled up stumps last week to me against Melbourne. I mean, there were some good individual efforts, but that line speed was just absolutely, zero. There was like no line speed at all. And if we do that again this week and, come back in holiday mode from the bye, then it could be trouble. But I like the starting lineup we've named. Really hope Dane has a good game. And to be fair, I really want Wakeham to have a good game as well. I thought he was okay the other week. He just had a few blokes just not giving him enough players in motion, in that first half against Melbourne. So I just hope we can string a few points. I mean, we got 66 against them last time there. We can obviously put points on them. We've just got to be able to defend them this time.
GD Tiger, as he said, you were spot on with the reads. So you're the stats man and the names man now. So.
How good was that reading of the number 17? That was just brilliant.
Mm.
Much
more cultured than me.
I remembered how our special guest from our first Cowboys preview pronounced it, so I did my best to do the name justice.
Mate, you'll get a job on SBS instantly. Don't you worry.
The next, what was the newsreader's name?
George Denikian?
Yeah, and the lady, what was the lady's name?
I've gone blank.
Chinese Australian lady.
I can't think of her name.
Yeah.
All I remember is the lady that used to imitate her. That's all on Fast Forward. Or Full Frontal or whatever it was.
Yeah, different times. Our friend was meant to come on tonight too, but he has COVID, so he was going to come on and preview this game with us. So we hope you're resting up buddy.
I'm
And
kind of the logic at the moment where if we don't lose by 48 or more and we don't have 66 or more put on us, then we've beaten the Cowboys for the year. So that's the attitude I'm taking into this
New
week.
South Wales women's origin style.
The life of
Yeah,
a
pretty
Tiger
much.
supporter.
Pretty much. As long as we win on aggregate, I'm fine.
New South Wales Cup, North Sydney Oval at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Our boys are taking on the Bears. Who are the Bears? They changed who they're linked to. Are they Roosters now?
They were
No,
Roosters, but
they
I
were
think
Roosters.
they're on their own now.
They're on there.
I feel like they did get linked with someone else. I've just gone blank on who it was.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
keeps same
we'll
them
work
and
that out.
Newtown. They just keep flipping them around.
Are they maybe Mounties now because Mounties isn't in the comp anymore? Mounties might have turned into North Sydney.
I thought Mounties was for Canberra.
Someone will tell us in the
But
comments.
Canberra have their own team now too. I don't know. They
Ben-
keep changing around
Yeah,
the
it is Roosters.
affiliations.
Yeah, Ben says Roosters, Storm from next year.
Oh, that's who it is.
Okay.
Yeah, oh,
Right.
Because Jason Taylor's the Bears coach still, I think, isn't he?
correct.
And he was signed by the Roosters a few years back.
There we go. It's mystery solved. A few names in there. It's looking pretty. Dean Blaw's been named a halfback, so he's been coming off the bench. I went and watched the Cup on what day was it?
Saturday.
Sunday.
No, Saturday afternoon. Bit of a heartbreaking loss for the Magpies. They kicked Will Smith kicked what should have been a game-winning field goal 90 seconds ago. Short kickoff. I don't know how it was. You're pretty far away. Obviously, being it's a cricket-sized oval. It's a velodrome, I think, Lickham Oval. So you're pretty far away from the action. But for some reason, on the short kickoff, the ball went out, and it ended up being Bulldogs' feed. They got the ball, snapped a field goal literally 5 seconds ago on the clock, and 15 all draw. So yeah, the Magpies should have won that one, but it was a good afternoon. Took my young bloke out to Lickham Oval, had a run around, kick at the footy, sausage sandwich at the canteen. It was it was a good little Saturday afternoon in the sun. That's just a shame the Magpies couldn't get the win.
Well,
And-
I will add that considering the Dogs are first on the ladder
Mm,
in reserve grade, and like a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, they put an absolute cricket score on Parramatta. I think we did pretty well to draw 15 all.
yeah. And that's the team for the Bears up on screen. Jersey Flegg, we are playing against Parramatta at Ringrose Park on Saturday. Anyone know where Ringrose Park is? I assume.
I do, and I've just had a
Uh-huh.
mental blank.
Oh, that's
Is that
near,
Great Staines or something? I can't remember.
Not sure. I should have looked it up, but a few big names to watch in there: Josh Felaherty, Brendan Shumath.
Wentworthville. That's right. Where because
Oh, it's
Parramatta used to, Parramatta. It's Wenny Leagues Club.
Oh, it's Winnie
used to
Leagues.
be-
Okay.
Yeah, Para used to be Wentworthville in reserve grade, so I think that's what
All right.
that is now.
We live like 10 minutes away from that oval, as we didn't know. Rob Sadamas, what have you got for us this week?
Guys, on absolutely no notice, we're doing this pod Tuesday night, as everyone who's listening live would know, and the teams come out at 4:00, so look, really hard to whip up a same game multi or anything, but I just found it really hard to tip a winner in the Raiders and Titans game, so I think that could be a good one for a golden point. So
Okay.
that's
You're good at
my
these.
tip this week. Well, there's a few games. There's about 3 games that I actually thought could be golden point, but this is the one that kind of stands out. I could see Canberra getting to a lead and then shitting their pants like they did against the Roosters to a degree, and the Titans are playing pretty well. So, cold conditions down there. I think it could be, a low-scoring draw.
Right, we'll go on to our tips for the week. Righto, Sharkies. Sharkies are $1.11 favourites against the Dragons. So the poor old Dragons. I mean, look, what we want to see in this game. Hopefully, this is the point that we're at. Hopefully, the Sharks win by more than what the Cowboys win against us, and just move that for and against a little bit further away, and so the Dragons are still last. That's that's all we can hope for, I guess. Anything to add on this game, boys? Is at Shark Park.
Yeah, I just want to add in, because I didn't get to do a lot of this Rob Stradamus stuff. Make sure you put the right winger for Cronulla in Katoa to score a try. He will definitely get at least one try.
Actually, speaking of the Dragons, I saw little Lockie went out with his mum. Obviously, Courtney's a Dragons fan. I saw him on the TV. I was literally saw his bright orange jacket, West Tigers jacket, on the hill, and she said after the game he was chanting out "We're not last" on the hill at the Dragons game.
Love that kid's passion. I love
He's
that
so
kid's
good.
passion. He's incredible.
But in all seriousness, the Dragons are probably my least hated Sydney team, and it just sucks at us and the Dragons. Remember 2010, 2005, 2011. We played them 3 times in semi-finals. I feel like the West Tigers and Dragons, when they're doing well, footy is obviously a bias with the Tigers, but the NRL will be so much better if these two clubs got their shit together. So,
well, they've both got shit managements. That's why they're both going so shit. It's not a coincidence.
I got lots of friends that are Dragons fans. So, Warriors against the Bunnies over in Auckland. We've all gone the Warriors, which is pretty crazy, tipping the Warriors against South. But a few injuries for the Bunnies.
Yeah, they're missing Latrell Mitchell. They played pretty poorly against the Cowboys. They look like they've clocked off in defence. I mean, even the Dragons got a win against them a few weeks ago and scored 30-odd points. What I like about the Warriors is the last 2 games that I've watched them, their first halves, they haven't really played very well. They've completed at around 50% or just over. They've had quite a few errors, but then the second half, they just come over the top of teams, and they're playing really well. Sean Johnson is playing like his life depends on it, tackling like his life depends on it. I just think at home they should win, but I don't think it'll be a pushover, because they're not generally a team that roll other oppositions over. But I think they might have enough on South.
The West Tigers don't win the comp. I kind of hope they do. If the West Tigers don't win the comp this year.
I mean, given the sacrifices the team made for basically 2.5 seasons, you've got to have a bit of a soft spot for the Warriors, and obviously we're taking the home game over there later on. So, and they're absolutely killing it at the moment. And they're probably going to kill us in an away game on their home turf. So,
just look at the other teams in the top 8 too. Anyone all the teams I hate are in the top 8 with them. So,
be pretty funny watching a team from New Zealand win our national competition.
New Zealand's, they're part of Australia, pretty much.
Oh, Bondi.
There's plenty of Kiwis here, but you don't even need a visa or anything when you go to New Zealand. There might as well be another state of Australia.
Yeah.
The Storm against the Penny Panthers. Az and I've gone the Riff. Rob, you've gone the Storm. Look, tipping against the Storm at home, this is a tough one. You were talking about Golden Point before. Man, this
is one of those games.
Yeah.
This is one of those games that could easily be like that.
Tipping. Why did I tip the Panthers? No clear.
I just want to add, you kind of got to be careful with tipping for the rest of the season, basically now, because those teams that are losing home grounds for the FIFA World Cup, that's happened. So this game isn't at Amy Park; it's at Marvel Stadium. So, and I think that takes away a bit from the Storm home advantage, and the Panthers. I think Storm have been playing well, but I think the Panthers might have enough to get over them a little bit in this one. Their Origin boys are back, and they're well rested after having last weekend off. So I think it'll be a close game, but the fitness from the Panthers Origin boys may be enough to get them over the line late.
That's the one, the roof, isn't it? Marvel Stadium.
Yeah, the retractable roof. If it's cold or wet or whatever, they can close the roof and not have to deal with the outside elements. So,
well, they're the best 2 coached sides in the comp, in my opinion. So
Hmm.
they're not going to beat themselves. Someone's going to have to do something to beat the opposition.
It's an absolute blockbuster of a Friday doubleheader. Warriors Rabbits on Warriors home turf and Storm Panthers. It's just a bit of a disappointment that this Storm Panthers game is during the World Cup period, not during a period where the Storm could play this game at Amy Park.
Yeah. I guess Marvel holds more people, but yeah, it's tough viewing at a
it's
AFL
a circular
ground.
/ oval stadium. Yeah, that detracts from the viewing experience for these NRL games, as we all learnt at the SCG.
Yeah, fucking hate watching rugby league at the SCG. The Raiders, we've all tipped them against the Titans, but man, I could feel this could go. It's a tough tipping round this week. I feel like the Titans. There's no reason why the Titans can't win.
Well, I've tipped Golden Point, so
Saturday.
it wouldn't surprise me who wins, but you can't tip a draw on your tipping app, so you got to pick one team. But yeah, Raiders with no confidence.
Anything to add on that one, Az?
Not really, no. But just to your point about this being a tough tipping round at the Ermington pub, the tipping comp I'm in down there, it's double points this round, so I'm stressing out.
Yeah, they picked a good week.
Okay, I'll pay attention to your tips, Aaron, and see what you got going.
I've thought a lot about it, which is why it took me so long to put them through for this. But I may change some later on. But yeah, I've got some interesting thoughts here.
Yeah.
West Tigers are paying 5-1 to win up in Townsville. The line 13.5. Sean Bloor playing for a try. Actually, Steph. What's Steph playing for a try these days? $11.
Has 12 dropped in his price to score a try? Is he still at $10.50, $11 mark?
$12.50. So they're not expecting many tries. Yeah, not expecting West Tigers to score many points. I guess, which is pretty smart, I guess. But Stefano, $11 might have a. I got to do it every week. I can't have him score a try and not be on it. So, yeah. Any hope, boys? 13. Do we cover the line there under 13? So
I don't think we cover the line. I just think this week is a big test of where we stand for the rest of the season. If it's nothing about we're not going to play finals, but we'll get to see what the attitude's going to be like for the rest of the year based on this game. And I'm just tipping it on what I saw on the last game. I just think, the boys just lost a bit of heart. They realise they're out of reach now. Yeah, and the worst for that is just the Cowboys are starting to play well. I'm not going to be betting on this game, but I guarantee you Jeremiah Nanai is going to get a try from a grubber kick. So that'd be something. I'd be backing Jeremiah Nanai to get a try. They always seem to run a short kick, which we don't seem to defend very well, and for the lead runner. So I reckon Nanai will get a try this week there.
Broncos heavy favourites against the Dolphins. We've all gone Broncos in this one. So that's at the.
Do we know what's happened with Reece Walsh? Is Reece Walsh suspended?
He should be. I don't know. I haven't heard.
Well, that'll be a big out. That'll be a big out.
I can't believe he wasn't sin bin for that.
Should have been sent off.
Or sent off, yeah.
Yeah, should have been sent off. You can't be saying stuff like that. We can, but they can't.
Oh, we say it on TV all the time.
Last update on the judiciary recap was at 9:09, and the hearing has been adjourned for the panel members to consider their verdict. So no update, no finalisation yet, but they're deliberating now.
Yeah, well, that was a bit of a shock loss on the weekend of the Gold Coast. So, and he pretty much sparks everything from the back. So he'll be a big out if he doesn't play. It will certainly make it a bit closer. And the Dolphins can't play worse than what they did against Parramatta. So you'd have to think they'll strike back.
Yeah, they're playing this one at the Gabba. So 2 cricket ovals being used.
Yeah, Suncorp out of action for the next 2 months as well for the World Cup.
Wow.
So that's another one of the grounds that have been taken away from footy fans. Although I'm not complaining about not having to see Suncorp for 2 months. We saw it every week for the first 10 rounds.
Yeah, true. And I'm not a big soccer fan, but I'm keen to see the Matildas host a World Cup. So, of course, stadium's still in use. So the Doggies hosting the Knights on Sunday afternoon. I've tipped the Doggies in an upset in this one. I think this one could go either way. I'm not overly confident in that, but I don't know. I feel like the doggies are due for a win. So
Yeah, it's a weird one. Jackson Hastings has been named, but he looked 100 to 1 to play this week. And I think Dane Gagai is a late withdrawal. But I don't know. I just think this is the sort of game for Kalen Ponga. Like, Canterbury aren't much chop. I just think Kalen Ponga will run riot. So we'll see what happens.
And then finally, Sunday afternoon at Luke Brooksvale Oval, Manly are hosting the Roosters. This is a tough one too. You've gone Manly as Rob and I have gone the Chooks, but man, my theory is just no Turbo. If Turbo was playing, I'd tip Manly, but
I've gone with
No.
Manly because how garbage the Roosters' attack has been lately. I thought they could strangle a win from the Raiders last week, and they ended up bringing it close. But for the first 35 minutes, they were like headless fish, and they just couldn't score a point to save their lives. So I've really fallen off the Roosters this year. I think they're a legitimate chance of missing the finals for the first time since it might have been 2016 or something. So yeah, I've gone with Manly purely with home ground advantage. I think they've got they'll want to put on a show for their fans. I think they don't have as much issue scoring points as the Roosters do. I just don't think the Roosters will score enough points to win.
Yeah, this was the third game, Josh, that I thought might be a golden point game. So we've mentioned the Canberra game, we've mentioned the Storm Panthers game. I found this really hard to split. From a Roosters point of view, Joey Manu came back to his, vintage best last week, which was good for them. I'm actually really just curious to see how James Tedesco goes. Greg Alexander was hinting the other night how out of form he was. So I was wondering if he was trying to already make excuses for James Tedesco not being in Origin for Game 3. So that's pretty much the only interest I've got in that game, is to see how Tedesco goes, because he was terrible under the high ball against whoever they played the other night, Canberra. So we'll see how that goes.
On to our Patreon questions to finish the show. So patreon.com/WestsLife. If you want to join us all in Discord. Lots of chat going on 24/7 with the boys and girls in there. Obviously, when news drops, someone drops it in there, and there's lots of discussion going on. We talk about other sports and that sort of thing in there as well, and you get to take part in the show as well. What have we got this week? We have Gussie says, I'm happy for Brooksy to go. That's what's best for him. Still shed a tear. Seems the Manly fans are optimistic and even thrilled to have him. Hope he doesn't fuck it up. I hate goodbyes. Love your work, lads. Much love, good humans. Jay Danger Ross, question for the pod. Do you think the fans would be a bit more united now? Because every week, I think he means when Brooks leaves, because every week after a game, we get a 50-50 split of saying it was Brooks' fault. We lost. Now the fans can focus on the team and not living and dying on what one player has done that week. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a cesspool, the fan base on the social media, until we win games, in my opinion. It's just the nature of the beast.
I think Brooks has been good for 2 months. I just think it's still a good move that he nicks off and goes. I don't wish him any harm. I hope he does well, but I mean, it's going to sound cold. I really don't give a fuck about Luke Brooks. I just care about how the West Tigers go and what's best for the West Tigers. So as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't even put him back in first grade this year. Like, let's just give other people a go, whoever it may be. We're not going to achieve anything by playing Luke Brooks there. The only thing, as I've said earlier, it'll just be hilarious if he does succeed at Manly as a 5'8", when we should have known from last year that was his rightful position. But stubborn Sheens and co said, no, he's a number 7. He's a number 7. He's a number 7. So we'll see how that pans out.
As for that question, for a team like ours that's always struggled for the last 12 years to make finals, there's always going to be a lot of pressure on certain players wearing certain jerseys. So I do think whoever comes into the number 7 next year is going to have a bit of a gauntlet. And a lot of fans are going to basically live and die by the actions of whoever is wearing the number 7. So we may be more united, especially with no Brooksy, just because of the fact that like he has been probably one of the most divisive players in the game, considering he's played 200 plus games and not one single finals game. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on whoever wears the number 7 next year, and good luck to them.
I feel like there'll be a little bit more, maybe a little bit. If it's a young player, there might be a little bit more patient with them. Like
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But there are going to be some of those fans
yeah,
who will roast whoever it is over the coals if they perform poorly.
yeah.
You can guarantee if we get flogged on the weekend, the first person that's getting hammered is Brandon Wakeham.
Brandon Wakeham.
Yeah.
It'll just happen. It happened the other week, I thought, unfairly. It'll happen again. So that's just how our fans are.
How's your Brooks Island going, Josh? Is it starting to sink again, or is it gone all
Brooks
completely?
Island? Yeah.
You call it removalist?
I'm going to Fiji to look for another island tomorrow.
Dreamland.
Yeah, but Dream's a continent at this point. Everyone loves him. So
true.
Baxter asks, if we sign Fainu, do we look to get a more experienced, potentially slightly over the hill, just to manage? I think it means halfback, to manage and kick, or do we just look at signing someone younger, less experienced, with a higher ceiling to pair with Fainu?
Option B.
What you reckon? Go young.
100%. Go young. Just go young. Let them learn.
Yeah.
Like, well, look at Jareem. We didn't know what Jareem Buller could do.
Yeah.
And you know, he's already a superstar. In a year from now, he'll be a better superstar. So let's just give a kid a chance and define his role, teach him his role. He's going to have someone reasonably experienced outside him. You know, like whether it's a Dewey or we buy a 5/8 from somewhere else, but just invest in the kids. We keep talking about all this youth policy, and we buy every fucking pensioner that's around. You know, like there's talk of Frizzell coming and all this sort of shit. You want to talk youth, play the youth. You know, so I'd be happy to go with a young half.
Yeah, so would I.
Just get the best player you can find, either or. I guess bring back Blake Austin. I love Blake Austin. He was my Sean Bloor. If I was doing this show back when Blake Austin was playing, he was my Sean Bloor back then. I love that guy.
I mean, if we do get a player like Blake Austin for basically like a year or two, that's a bit of a link man, like what we were talking about with what Ben Hunt could possibly be. Then that may not be the worst idea either, because we've obviously got a lot of young up and coming halves through the lower grades and through the juniors that could potentially learn a lot from someone with his level of experience. So there's positives and negatives to both sides, I reckon.
And to finish with our Benji Marshall tier members, so these guys get a rant every single episode. We've got both the current ones with Gussie and Shane this week. So Gussie says, hello, is anyone there? It's getting pretty lonely in the Benji Marshall level Patreon. Do you want to hang out? It's only $17 a month. You get to say random things like chips and gravy could be the greatest food yet to be released at rugby league games in Australia, and ask serious questions like, do frogs sneeze? Much love, great humans. Gussie. Gussie's paying us to be an advertisement for the Patreon. Love you, Gussie.
He's paying the show. He's paying the show to advertise the show. I love it. we love you, Gussie. You're incredible.
Shane Goat said, I just got back from a week's trip, including the State of Origin. As a Queenslander, I feel like sending Shane a refund of his money with the way this is going. I was very happy with the result. As an even better result was reading that Brooks is gone from day one. I've never been a massive fan. Good luck to him on his next chapter. He's Manly's problem. Now, I want to give the raps to West management for not offering him overs to stay. I think we offered what he's worth. So, yeah, I'd agree with that part. You finished strong there, Shane. I agree with that.
Yeah, some will disagree, but a lot will.
That pretty much does it. Now, as I mentioned, the seventh time, I'm not saying this because I'm bragging, but I am going to Fiji in about... My flight leaves in literally 12 hours after we're recording this now, and I will be taking the microphone over with me. We will be attempting to record We won't be live on the YouTubes or Facebook streams because there's no way the internet's going to be that good.
Don't trust.
Yeah,
the
might
broadband.
not. Yeah, it's just
Never know.
you never know. I don't know. The outrigger might have decent enough Wi-Fi, but we won't risk it. We're just going to record audio only. So if you are someone who watches this on YouTube and Facebook, be sure to go to whatever podcast outlet you use: Apple, Spotify. What else are we on? Google, Podbean. There's all we're on all those. So be sure to subscribe. It'll be audio only for the next 2 episodes. We'll probably record on Monday and Tuesday. What time? Not sure. So keep an eye out for the episodes. We've got time zones and coordinate the 3 of us to get on at the same time. But the show will be as is. Just you won't see our faces and you won't see the pretty pictures up on the screen. So we will still be recording. Hopefully a review of a win against the Cowboys. Probably not. And then a preview of the Sharkies we have next week, which is a Thursday night game, I believe, which you'll be heading to at CommBank Stadium. So we'll preview that one as well. So we'll probably do that on Tuesday because it's a Thursday game. But we'll see. Let me get the board shorts and Denver Nuggets jersey and sun hat on, and I'll work it out when I'm over there. So, like I said, I reckon Josh is going to Fiji. I am. I know. I've said it multiple times now.
He's just bragging at this point.
I am bragging at this point. I'm not the first person to go on an overseas holiday. I think who said it before? They were in Italy. Someone said they were in the Netherlands watching this. So, love your hassle, guys. So, yeah, it's
We've never been overseas. I'm jealous.
You got it, you get that passport sorted, go on a holiday, get away from Australia, get some sun. I'm just keen for the warm weather, getting away from the cold. If it wasn't for rugby league, I wish I was a duck and just could fly north for the winter every year, or a whale, like the whales are swimming past. All right, we're at part of that show where I'm talking about animals. So it's probably time we head off and say goodnight to Big Dog. So, yeah, we will be back on Monday, hopefully. And shouts to, actually surprised on a Tuesday night after no game this week, how many people have joined us on the stream tonight. So really appreciate you guys. You love yous all, as Jeff Fennick once said. Anything to add, boys, before we head off?
I was just going to say, how many times can you say a 4-letter word starting with F as much as you have tonight? Unbelievable.
Have I dropped a few? Have I F-bombed more tonight, have I?
Yeah, Fiji.
Oh, right.
No, I would just advise our listeners, just, it's going to be madness the next 3 months. Just stay off social media as much as you can, and until there's an official signing, don't go apeshit about whatever you hear. Just wait till something's announced officially, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've eased down on Twitter and I've eased down on Facebook. So yeah, just keep a sense of humor, and we'll be right next year.
Don't listen to Rob there at WestsLife Pod. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and retweet, share, like, help us the algorithm. Don't listen to the old man. As anything to add?
I just want to wish you a fun and safe and happy holiday, Josh, and a bit disappointed you're not taking me with you. I'll just have to stow away in a suitcase or something. But Gussie asking the important questions in the chat there as well, asking if frogs sneeze. I say yes, they probably do. Maybe that's what happens whenever they try to eat a fly and the tongue comes out. Maybe that's what they're doing. That's my contribution to difficult questions for the night.
I've never been to France, so I'm not sure. Righto, boys. As always, go the Tigers.
Bulla, bulla. Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife Podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and facebook.com/WestsLifePod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife, and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife Podcast.